Welcome back to our Sproutable Parent Q&A. We are getting a lot of questions from parents about how to talk to their kids about race. And we have Jasen Frelot from the organization Kids and Race to help answer this important question.
So we've got a question about how to use books to talk to your kids about race. Now, books can be used for good or for evil in talking to your kids about race. And either way, it's a good opportunity to talk to your kids. Unfortunately, most books that we've had growing up have race in not so helpful ways, and they do this in two ways. One, they use erasure. So erasure, all that means is like creating these odd worlds where it's all white people or talking trains or animals and no people of color. They're like Thomas the Tank Engine, for example. Like Thomas the Tank Engine is this crazy world where there's all talking trains and all white people, and there's no black or brown or Asian people. It's kind of ridiculous. But this is an interesting opportunity to teach your kids. You could teach your kids that this is weird. Like, what a strange world this is. That there's a whole world where there's talking trains and all white people and no people of color. And you could ask them, like, is this the way that the world looks? Is the world really all white? And it's a really great opportunity to teach your kids, to teach them to be noticers of their environment. And it would actually help them in real life. So if in real life they go to school and they see all one race, all white people, they'll begin to be able to ask questions about that. Like, why is this? Now, we know it's because of years of social engineering around segregating our neighborhoods. But, the first step to changing that is people asking good questions. The next way that books can cause problems in race is by negative depictions of people of color. So it's not enough that the books have black and brown people in there. You have to also think about what those black and brown people are doing. So there's this book called A Fine Dessert, and if you looked at the cover, it's got this little black girl smiling, and she's stirring a bowl of cake. But when you open up the book, it turns out that black girl and that family are slaves in the book. And the book doesn't talk about slavery as this awful thing that dehumanized millions and millions of people over the course of hundreds of years. It shows the slaves as happy, jolly people who love making cakes for their white oppressors. And it's horrifying, really. And it was a very popular book. So a lot of white people were reading this book to their kids and saying, oh my goodness, would you look at all the diversity in this book? But the diversity wasn't enough, because if you looked at the way that people of color were depicted in the book, then you would see that it was perpetuating a untrue narrative about slavery. So really, that type of book, I wouldn't read it to my kids until you are ready to talk to them about the realities of slavery. One of my principles is that you as the parent are the first and most important teacher, and you can talk to your kids about slavery when you're ready. A really good way to use books in a positive way, there's a book that I recommend. It's called Last Stop on Market Street. Now, in Last Stop on Market Street, it follows a black grandmother and her grandson as they take a city bus to serve meals for the homeless. And really, in a story like that, what you want to do is point out that the people in this story are black people, that they're people of color. You want to point out the skin colors and the tones and talk about what they're doing, and talk about how you like to see people of color in books and how exciting this is and how happy you are and how you want to find more books like this. This is a really great way of normalizing conversations about race with your kids and teaching your kids to be color conscious, to be able to see race, to name race, to claim it as something that's positive, because difference is a good thing. Difference is what makes us unique. Difference is what makes America what it is.
Real moments are learning moments.